You can draw this in Procreate. In today's tutorial, I'll show you how to draw 3 simple flowers that absolutely anyone can do. I'll take you through each one step by step so you can get comfortable with shapes, lines, and adding a few details on your iPad. We'll be working on a standard 2000 by 2500 pixel canvas, and I've left a link to the color palette and all the tools you'll need down in the description, so you can use the exact same colors and tools that I'm using. And if you're ready, let's draw together. Let's start off by grabbing the brush we'll use first. All of the brushes we'll be using today are in the Illustrator's starter kit. And if you don't already have it, go to the goodie bag at prettylittlelines.com to get it for free. And in there, you'll find the sketching pencil that we'll be using to start our sketch off. To see it's in a sample from the Character Design Academy, and just grab that one there. And all we're gonna do is just kind of map out our first flower, and then we will do a simple painting of it as well. To start off, let's do one of the simplest flowers that we'll be doing today. It's a tulip. So my pencil is at about 25%, 100% opacity, of course. And all I'm going to do is start by just drawing a simple line, just a curve, just like that. Next, I'll draw an oval shape at the top, something like that. And then we'll have a line going this way for the leaves and a line going that way. Just really simple. So first, let's just focus on the tulip, the actual flower part. So have this line kind of come out here and curve around, nice and round, like that. This one, curve around like this. And then have this little part that you want out like that, have a curve around. Now, from here, just have a line go and cross over about the center. So that's sort of your first petal here. Making sure that that's nice and round. Okay, then at the top here, have this swoop. Have this come like this way, and around like that. So you can kind of see on to the inside of the flowers. Make sure that's nice and rounded there, not too sharp. And here at the back, we'll have the back petal that kind of peeks up like that. Okay, let me do a little erasing just in case you need to see this a bit clearer. You can kind of see how that works there. All right, nice and simple. So then let's just do a little bit of width at the top here, and then bring it quite narrow all the way through here. Just trying to keep it as even as possible, even though it's just a rough sketch. How about like that? We can just end it like that. And then for our leaves here, just have this curving in. I'm going to give it a little bit of a gap here, just so we can kind of see where it attaches. A little rounded, maybe a little swoop this way. Might be a little bit on the thick side, just because these typically aren't that wide. All right. Then this one, same thing, curving in. Something like that. All right, nice and easy. Okay, so now we're ready to finish this up a little bit. I just thought I should mention though that if this looks a little bit different from your Procreate library, you will notice that this is the updated version. So my Procreate just updated automatically and it just looks a little bit different. So I'm gonna go ahead and just tap on the N and turn that opacity way down. Then I'm going to create a new layer, and we're going to start to color this in really simply. So I'm going to just start with this light pink here. And then I'm going to go and find the inky filler. Just grab that. Let's see. I'm at about 16, 17. So I'm just going to color in this first section here. So just something close to what I've done, just that little bit, and just drag and drop. Just making sure that my threshold, you see the color drop here, just that it's nice and high, just so it fills it all the way in. And that's that. And then I'm going to create a new layer and drag it below that layer just by holding it. Let's go get the next pink here, just that one there. And then we can just color this in. And then making sure that this connects here. You can see it behind. So that's filled in. And then we'll drag and drop. And that's filled. Okay. If you tap on the layer below, it'll be easier to create a new layer right above it instead of dragging it. So I'm creating a new layer. I'm just going to take this pink and I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. I'm on the classic colors section here. I like it the best. So just down just a little bit and make it a little bit darker. And I'm just going to create a full shape there and bring that in. That's great. And actually I can use this color on here as well. Just filling in that little piece. Perfect. And again, tap on the layer below and create a new layer. And let's just have this darker pink here. And filling that in. Okay, so now we have sort of some variations, just sort of the style that we're doing today, and we can make some changes to this as well. Actually, let's go and fill the rest of this in first before we go and make some changes. So I'm going to create a new layer below just by tapping below and creating that plus, or tapping that plus sign. Use this green here. And we'll just making sure you complete that shape. And just fill that in. You might have to do it twice or color it in. Okay. And then I'm going to use that. And just like that. Making sure that's still nice and rounded. Soft curves. Okay, we can fill those in. Lovely. Okay, so let's just kind of add to this a little bit more so it's not quite so flat. Okay, so let's go to the tulip, the flower part here. And I'm just going to create some shadows really simply. So I'm just going to go to the top layer here, tap on the plus sign, tap on the layer, and you can select clipping mask. And then we can go to this color here. And let's use the soft charcoal as our shader. I need to have it about size 12 maybe. So you can see how that just gives a really subtle little shadow. So that just makes that kind of look nice and rounded. So we're going to do the same thing to the layer below this layer. So tap on it, hit the plus sign, tap on it again, select clipping mask. You can see that it has that little arrow there. That means it's clipped to the layer below. Let's just go and we'll do this. We actually can select this color. So just hold your finger down and it'll select this color. Then we can bring it down, maybe a little bit to the right. And then we can have a nice little shadow there. This might be casting a little bit one along here too. That might look nice. Then to this layer here, tap on the layer, create a new layer on top, tap on it again to select clipping mask. We can again just go and select the color here just by holding down. And then let's just make this darker. Down and to the right, and let's just build that up. I might want it a little bit bigger here, just maybe about 5. So you can see how I can create that nice depth there. Same with over here. Kind of looks neat. Okay, and then this last one, tap on the plus sign, make it a clipping mask. We know it's this color, so we can make it a little bit darker. A little bit in there. I might actually lighten it up a little bit too. So pick this pink here. We can just do the reverse and kind of do a highlight. I'm just going to bring up my brush to about 20. Maybe just to kind of give it a little highlight on the end there. All right, lovely. Now let's just work on our little greenery part. So tap on the layer, create a new layer on top. You guessed it, clipping mask. And then I'm going to go, actually first before I do my shading, I'm going to use this lighter color here. Go back to the inky filler. So let's just make this line here. create the shape all the way so it's complete. And then we can just fill that in, giving us a highlight. Same with here. There we go. Lovely. Okay, and then you can stay on that layer. That's okay. We can conserve layers if you want. With this lightest green, I'm just going to do some more details. So my brush is at 15. Okay, and then I'm just going to just do this nice little line here as a detail. And then on this side, it's the same. Okay, so we can go ahead and create a new clipping mask on top of that one, so they're both together. And then just go ahead with, let's continue with this light green, that's fine. And a soft charcoal shader. And we can just give it a little highlight here, maybe a little like that. Then maybe with this green here, just so it's not so flat, just a little bit on the other side. And then I'm also going to go take this green, make it a little bit darker down and to the right. Make your brush a little bit smaller, maybe around 9 or 10. Give it a little shadow here along the side. And under there as well, maybe. Let's just kind of a little bit like that. Okay, last we can just do a little bit of a fun detail on top if you'd like. Create a new layer at the very top. Select this light pink. I'm just going to make it even lighter, so just up and to the left. And you can just grab the inky filler and do some simple little lines like this if you want to add some details. Maybe a little soft line like that. And then I'm going to use this light pink just as it is on here. Maybe even a little bit darker. So let's just go and select this color and just bring it up and to the left just a touch, just so the contrast isn't as great. Okay. And then maybe we can select this layer in the back, bring it up into the left. It's a little bit lighter, and have a few lines in here. I'm trying to be really careful. We could have done this with the clipping mask if we wanted to as well, but we can do it carefully. All right, so there's one simple flower. We can just turn off our sketch in the background if you can still see it a bit. And there we go. So on to our next one. I hope you're having fun enjoying this tutorial so far. If you'd like to take your drawing and painting skills in Procreate to the next level and do it in a way that feels relaxing and joyful, then check out my courses over at prettylittlelines.com. You'll find lots of different styles, step-by-step lessons, and in-depth teaching that I'm sure will spark your creativity and inspire you. There's something for everyone, especially beginners, and I think you'll really enjoy what's waiting there. I'll leave a link for you in the description below so you can check it out. But for now, let's jump back into the lesson and keep creating together. Okay, so just before we move on, I'm going to go to my layers and swipe to the right and collect all of my layers here. And I'm just going to group them. Or, of course, you can just simply use a brand new canvas. I'm just going to keep this flower here and create a new layer so that I can turn off that group and I have a fresh canvas to work on, or you can just create a new one. All right, so let's just go back and just have black just for our sketch. Get the sketching pencil and we'll move on to our next flower. Actually, it's a set of 3 flowers technically, just a very simple 5-pointed, lovely little flower, but they are great and can be used in so many drawings and so many arrangements, so handy little flower. All right, so let's just kind of create just sort of a loose curve like this. We'll have one over here and one over here. And what I usually do is just start by just giving yourself kind of some circles, and you can kind of just sort of start to see where to place them so it kind of fits nicely. And then you can actually, it's easier to sort of see where these lines are going to go because they go to the center of the flower, of course. Not that you would see it all. And then you can add your leaves in afterwards. So they would be around here. That kind of fills in that nice negative space there. All right, and then it's fun to have a nice little curve, like one that's quite actively curved a bit more. And you have something like that, just to give it a little bit movement. Okay, so these are going to be fairly straightforward. It'll just be a little circle. That's just it for the center. And then you can, if you want, it might be easier to kind of make almost spokes, just so that you have your petals somewhat even. So, because 5 isn't always the easiest to maneuver here, or just make sure that they're perfectly even. So if you just kind of do that, then you can kind of see how they are placed. And then you can draw your petals around them. So using those as a guide, try to make them roughly the same shape, size and shape. I mean, there should be a little bit of regular. It's a flower. It's not, perfect. It should, not super mechanical, but just do your best so they make sense. And that's a simple 5 petal one. So we can do the same thing here. All right, we'll have this coming around here. Try not to come too close to the stalk here, just to give it some space so you can read it. You don't want things overlapping. Well, unless you're intentionally doing it, you just don't want it to look really weird if it's just close to it. Either have a gap or have it overlap, one or the other. In between doesn't look quite as clean and readable, so just be mindful of that in your compositions, even in your floral compositions. Okay, and then this one, we'll move on to this last one. Same thing. Looks about right. And here too, try to have it so that this isn't coming in the same line, like this is overlapping that. Otherwise it can look a little bit awkward sometimes. Okay, lovely. Now we can just add this line here so we know where that is going. That's all about that. And you can make that, have a little bit of wiggles to it too, so it's not perfectly smooth. All right, now this is a great place to just make any adjustments. I think I want this one a little bit tighter to it. It's fine the way it is, but I would prefer it to be a little bit closer. So I'm just gonna go to my selection tool with freehand and add selected. I'm just gonna draw around this, and then I can select it and move it. So I'm just gonna tap on my arrow and simply just bring it a little closer, just so I feel it's a little bit more part of the action here. Okay, so I think that's better for our sketch. Now let's go ahead and make this pretty. So let's do something a little bit different with this. I'm just actually going to change the background color, so we'll do a white flower. So if you just tap on your background, you can choose one of these, maybe this, and then let's just make it a little bit lighter, something like that. If you're wondering, it's, just get something close, but you can also have the hexadecimal is F7EBDC, so something just a neutral beige. Okay, and then we can go back here, and I'm going to create a new layer on top, and we'll just take our sketch layer and just bring that opacity down. Okay. All right, let's just go and grab a light color. So we can actually just go to this neutral again and just bring that color swatch all the way, not quite white, but just a hair back to the right, just so it's a little bit of a soft white. Then we'll grab our inky filler and let's just fill in all of these here. So my brush is at about 15 and let's color these in. All right. Now we can always put our sketch on top. It might be a little bit easier to see through, just to see where our little dots are. So tap on that white layer, create a new layer, and we can just add our little dots here. So maybe use this orange. We can just make a nice little circle. Great. And then let's just create a new layer and bring it below the white. We'll do our greenery here. So just grab that. Let's just grab actually the medium green this time. And we will just, my brush again is at about 15. You could bring it up just a little bit, maybe to 18 or 19 and just do that. Actually, I might make it skinnier at the top and then a little bit thicker at the bottom, which makes a little bit more sense. If you want to be the most accurate, you can always just start from that center because that's naturally, of course, where it would be, if that helps you. And then we can just bring this in here. Now, if you want, you can make a little bit of an edge to it. Have it a little bit spiky, with variegated edge. Gives it a little bit of personality. And this one, have a gap out of it, just making weird irregular lines. All right. I think we can turn off our sketch now. Safe to do so. And then let's just add a few little details here. So while we're on the greenery here, let's just finish it up. So I'm just going to create a new layer and make that a clipping mask. Then let's use this light color here, still with our inky filler. I'm going to go back down to 15, well, roughly. There we go. And then I'm just going to do a line here, nice and curved. Same with here. And then let's just do some lines here for some detail. Having this nicely curved just to mimic how it's curving that way. Usually it's easier to come in this way. Although these would be sort of curving in this way too. So have that curve so it looks a little bit more natural. Okay, great. Then we can go and tap the layer below and create a new layer. It'll automatically become a clipping mask, which is nice and convenient. And then let's go get this darker color here and the soft charcoal shader. And we can just give a little, let's see, I'm about a size 10 if you're wondering. A little shadow here. You can bring it up to about 14, 15 if you need some more. And we can shade this side, the whole side if you want. Looks nice, it gives it a little texture too. Bring it down to about 4 just to round this out a little bit on this side. There we go. That looks nice. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of work on our little flowers here. So just go back to the white layer, create a new layer, make it a clipping mask. So we've created a new layer. And then let's just go and grab, let's see, this color here. Let's see if that'll work. It's a little bit orange. Maybe this color, that's still orange. Bring it up and to the left. Let's just make it a little bit softer, a little bit peachier. Something like that. Okay. And then I'm just gonna do some lines, maybe some dots, little dashes and dots just to keep it a little bit light. Just make sure they're curving around here. Let's see. Make sure they go in the same line though. If they go off, they look a little bit funny. All right, next one. All right, last flower. Okay, nice. It just gives it a little extra texture. So then we can go ahead and tap on the layer below, create a new layer. Automatically it will become a clipping mask. We can use this color, I think should be fine, and we'll use the soft charcoal shader. Let's just give this, maybe that's a little bit too the same. Let's actually try, let's just make this a little bit darker. So I'm just gonna bring down and to the left. It's just a little bit more of a gray brown. Just kind of gives that shadow color. So I'm gonna use about 12. Can just give it a little bit of a shadow here. Not much, it doesn't need a lot. Just in some of the petals you might want to just do that. Okay, and then same with our dots. Even though this is a very small detail, we can go to the dots, tap on that plus sign, create a clipping mask, and just grab that orange, tap on the color and bring it down and to the right. We'll just make it darker, and we can just give that a little, see how small that is, but it does make a difference. So just make sure your brush size is quite small. Mine's at 3 now, just to get that so it's dark on one side and light on the other. That just rounds that out. If we even want to get even more, like adding details, you can get this, maybe this color here, this one, and grab the little inky filler, and you can even just do like a few like little teeny dots for highlights. See, that just gives it just a little bit. Some of them you might want a little bit bigger. It's kind of fun. Or you can just make your brush size a little bit bigger to make easier dots like that. Just those little sparkles sometimes make all the difference. And there you go, another nice simple little flower. And before we move on, let's do the same thing and group it all together. And then tap on group, and we can collapse it just by tapping on that arrow. So we have 2 flowers, obviously a different color background, but that still works, that are simple and easy to do. So let's move on to our next flower. All right, so let's just tap on the plus sign and we can just turn off that group. And I guess we can leave that color, that's fine for the background. Just grab black or brown, whichever you prefer, and just grab our sketching pencil. And let's just do our last flower here. Okay, so let's start off by just drawing a circle. You can either draw it or you can draw like a circle and make it snap if you want, and hold down your finger and just make a perfect circle, whichever you prefer. And then I'm just gonna have the center point, and then I'm going to just draw a line, just a curve where our stem will be. Okay, from there, let's kind of map out where our, actually, let's start with what's inside here. Then we'll do the leaves. Okay, so I'm gonna have basically our little wheel that we're gonna do again. And it's just gonna be like this. So roughly try to get it even as much as possible, evenly spaced. I think that's okay. All right, and then we're gonna have our petals, they're gonna be a little bit of a different shape than what we've been doing, so quite narrow at the top, and then they're kind of bell out and come in like this shape here. Almost more leaf shape in a way. Okay, so there's that. So same thing here. All right, and again, it's a little rounded, a little bell, and I'm just trying to make sure they meet in the center together. And just fitting in here. Might have to give that guy a little space there. Okay, again, as always, this is a great time to make any adjustments. You can redraw, resketch. Just, I want to make sure that, like, this one is a little bit too long, so I can just go to my magic wand, go to liquify. I am on push, and the size is 60. That's something you play around with just to see what's working. So I can just move that in, just making sure everybody's sort of roughly the same size. Okay, so then just tap the magic wand to get out of that. Okay, so then let's just go ahead and do our leaves. We'll have something a little bit more interesting than we've done before. So let's this time have it overlap on purpose. So we'll go over here and we will overlap this bit here. I'm gonna have another one coming out here. And maybe we'll have one here and then try drawing one behind like that. And one over here. So that kind of fills the space. Okay. Let's just move that over there. All right, so let's start with, we'll take our sketch and we'll turn down the opacity and we'll start to color this in. So bring a new layer, actually bring it below so we can see a little bit more detail. So before I grab a color, I'm actually going to change the background back to white. I've decided for this. So let's just go pick a color. Let's pick this blue and bring up the color just a little bit, just way up here. So it's right about there, a little bit lighter. And let's just start coloring in. Quite a purple color actually. A little bit more purple than it is blue now. All right, just fill that in. Wonderful. Okay, just make sure my sketch is all the way above. It kind of got below me there. All right, and then let's create a new layer. And we'll just bring it below our flower and we'll do our greenery with the medium green. Just fill this in. Just make sure that, you know, when they're coming in like this, it kind of meets nicely, not a funny jog. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so for this, I'm going to actually do this one here, but I'm not going to do the one below. I'm going to do that on a separate layer, so it'll be easier to shade in because it's behind it. Okay, so we can do that now. So create a new layer, bring it below, and we can just get that green and just come down and to the right a little bit, so just slightly a bit darker, and complete that shape there. Lovely. So already you kind of have a shadow and you can kind of tell the difference between the two. All right, so for our flower, let's just go there, create a new layer. I'm going to use this dark purple, and I'm going to, let's just see if this will work with this color will be sufficient. So let's just do a circle there and have these little stamen coming out like that. Little line, little circle. Have them a bit irregular size and how they curve. Just like, kind of like something like that. And there we go. Just to give it a little bit of the interest into the center of this type of flower. And then let's go ahead and we can turn off our sketch now, I'm pretty sure. So what I'm going to do is go to this layer here, or flower layer, create a new layer on top, make a clipping mask. I'm going to select this color, and then let's bring it up and to the right, or to the left rather, just a little bit. And still with the inky filler, some of these I'm going to go and just kind of color over and then bring them like this and just make them different colors. So we can just kind of retrace what we've done, but because we're on a clipping mask, it's going to stay within it. So just be mindful of the edge. You could have done this earlier as well, but it works like this. It works this way as well. So you can just kind of trace over, and then you have some variation there, which I think looks kind of nice. And then we can go ahead and create a new layer, make it another clipping mask, still with this color, still with the inky filler. Then we can do some lines here. Just smooth lines, curving, just slightly. I don't really like this one that I did here. This one here, that at the edge there. So you can just go back and fix your mistakes. There we go. And then this one. Okay. Then to go and tap on the flower below and just go and select this. So we have that purple, the darker purple color. Then go back to the line layer here. And let's just do the same thing on these ones. All right, so it kind of looks a little interesting. A little on and off kind of action going there. So now we can go ahead with this layer and just create a new layer. Again, it'll become a clipping mask. Let's grab this the dark purpley blue with a soft charcoal shader. Let's see, maybe a size 10. Kind of create a little bit of depth there. And you can do it, actually, let's bring this layer, just make it on the very top, just so that it covers everybody's layer there. So you can kind of make that, so it pushes back the center of the flower. Kind of shade the sides here a little bit. So it has the maybe kind of like curling around effect a little bit, you see? just on the edges, just really lightly. Gives that a nice effect. Okay, and then I'm going to, focus on the green part now. Actually, before I do, I really have to finish this little detail. So let's just go to the very, very top and let's just add a little bit of detail here. So we can get that really light purple, or you can just select it here. And just, I'm gonna go up and to the left so it's almost white, but not quite. And again, with the inky filler, let's just give a little highlight to these so then they'll stand out a little bit more. Just a little dot to the left to make that little highlight. Could even, let's see if it makes a difference if you have like a little line here too. Probably does, yes it does. So you can just have some of these kind of highlighted. Something like that. That's kind of fun. All right, so let's go do our greenery. So let's select this one, create a new layer, and make it a clipping mask. I'm going to use this light green. And with the inky filler, just go and color half of this side. You can color it in if you want. Sometimes I end up doing that. So all of the same side, so kind of makes sense. Okay, and then with our back one, let's select that, create a new layer, make that a clipping mask. And I think this color, well, let's see, let's just select this, go up and to the left. That's kind of quite similar to the one below, but we can still give it a shade. So with that, we can just create a new layer, clipping mask. With this color, let's just go soft charcoal and just give that a little shade there, like that. Okay, so back to this one here, we can just do this and we can create a new layer, clipping mask. Still with this darker green and our charcoal, we can just do our little shading here. Just to give it a little texture as well. Behind here, of course. Like so. And then we can do, maybe we'll just do, we can create a new layer. Again, clipping mask, the light with the inky filler. So let's just add a few lines. So I can just kind of do a few, and then maybe I'll just have one like that. Just because this is so stripy, I think just a few here and there might be all we need. Kind of like that. Oops. So you don't want this to happen. That looks quite awkward. So have it before or after, and that'll look a little bit cleaner there. All right, that's probably good. So that's it for our simple little flowers that anyone can draw. So we can go ahead and group this all together. Group it. And so we have this flower, and this flower. So that's it for this week's tutorial. If you liked it, I'd love a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.